What is the lowest level you can beat Pokemon Red and Blue using a Beedrill? We are on Loreley. I will be flashing the moves that are possible to learn and the stats on the screen. Feel free to pause at any time to look at those. So something we need to talk about is Loreley has good AI. What that means is anytime she can use a super effective move, she will use a super effective move. Beedrill is part poison and Rest is classified as a psychic type. So Loreley thinks she's using a super effective move, but little does she know she's just stuck in a sleep cycle. Now, I did try doing this with agility, and I just wasn't doing enough damage to the Dugong, and since it's in a rest cycle, if I can't do enough, it just keeps healing. Now, what I need to have happen is I need to level up after the Cloister. So I went in Victory Road, and I got some experience, so when I level up after the Cloister, I can mimic the Amnesia from Slowbro. And why I'm doing that is because when you level up, you lose your badge boost, and so I want my badge boost so I can one-hit KO the rest of the Mons. Now, Slowbro also has that good AI, and it is stuck in an amnesia cycle. So I've got all the time in the world. I'm good to go. Slowbro and Dugong are free. Nearly impossible to lose to them. So we've got the good AI. We've got the badge boost. We've got, modifying our experience points. A lot of good things going to this battle. This is going to be my most favorite run. I'm doing a little spoiler alert right now. This run was so fun, so good. I am so happy with how it turned out. And somebody asked for this one, so your recommendations are going really awesome. I appreciate that. So comment below what you want me to use. Like and follow really helps me out. I really appreciate every little comment. Even just dropping an emoji, I can't tell you how much I appreciate the little comments, okay? So anyway, the Jinx, really not too big of a deal. Amnesia, we're going to tank that, and we go ahead and we take them out. So the question I ask you is, what is the lowest level you can beat Pokemon Red and Blue using a Beedrill? Right off the bat, I do want to apologize. The video editor, for whatever reason, kept cutting out the end, so the only way I could get the full video in, as it seems to me, was to not speed up the video. Out of all battles, this is probably the worst one for me to not speed up because there's not too much craziness, but we can spend some time talking about what's going on in a little more in depth, and we can get into it. So you'll notice my level is level 42, so after Loreley I used a rare candy because I want my experience points to level me up right after the Hitmonlee. The reason for this is because we are going to be utilizing what we call the badge boost. Some people call it a glitch. I don't really call it a glitch just because you can't avoid it, or at least it's hard to avoid. So we might as well use it in our favor, and we're not inputting anything strange into the game to make it happen. It's just how the game works. So there are 4 gym leaders, and there's 8, but 4 of them, when you beat them, they will say your defense has now increased. So that increase is 12.5%. So once you get all 8 badges, you will have all of your stats other than HP increased by 12.5%, just standard. Now, where the glitch comes in is, or quote-unquote glitch, every time your stats get modified, whether it's like a sword stance, agility, a leer, a growl, screech, whatever it is, that 12.5% actually, it gives you another. So in the beginning I used 6 hardens, so I got 12.5% 6 times. So you can turn into quite a big threat if you have somebody to set up on. Now, of course, you need to survive long enough to set those up. But what is lucky for us is the Onyx is part ground, part rock. So Mega Drain is going to do a lot of damage and heal me. So I have plenty of time to set it up. And also, I really need to set up the defense early because Bruno is a physical attacker. Hitmonchan is the one that's not a physical attacker, and Hitmonchan and Machamp are the 2 that we're worried about in this run. So we don't like the special attacks that Hitmonchan has, and we don't, Machamp is just kind of a tank. So Hitmonlee is not too big of a struggle, and we are going to level up right after. So then all that badge boosting we got from the Hardens is going to go away. We will still have our Harden buff, but we will not have any of that extra badge boosting going on. So that's kind of why it's important that we do the run a few times. You're cautious of where your XP is, who you need to level up on, and what's a little frustrating is if you need your experience points to be different. Rare candy can fix it if you just need it to go to 0, that you gain none for that level. But like Loreley, in the beginning I had to go back to Victory Road, battle a few people so I would level up at certain points. And just a reminder, if you did make it this far in, I really appreciate all the commenting, liking, of course, follows. It's really nice to engage with you guys, answer your questions. I've gotten a lot of good feedback, so I just appreciate. Even if you leave a little like emoji comment for no question or anything, it just helps with the algorithm. So I appreciate that. We are doing no items in battle. A few people have asked that question. No items in battle. I don't care what the rival has, because at the end of the day, they're going to have a replacement for that typing, so in my eyes it doesn't really matter. And then no like overt glitches, like I can't come in with the Beedrill with just like glitch stats and stuff like that. You'd have to do the run like you were playing through the whole game, so you can only have what you can get from the game, so you can't have like a million PP ups. Like there's only so many in the game, that's how many you can have. So this second Onyx placement is really nice because no matter what happens with the Hitmonchan and Hitmonlee, I know I'm going to get healed off this Onyx, and I leveled up after the Hitmonlee, so I was able to use some Swords Dance to get the badge boosting back. You will see on this this Machamp why I needed those Swords Dance and why I needed the badge boost, because look at how little damage I am doing to him. I mean, that's maybe a quarter, maybe a fifth. And Fissure is never going to work. My base speed is higher, and that's something in this game where if your base speed is higher, a one-hit KO move will not actually work. So if you keep spamming that, I'm pretty safe. But if he was using other stuff, I mean, my defense is high, but, it's Bruno, so we're not overly concerned, but also at the same time, there is some stuff to watch out for. But at level 43, I mean, this is pretty amazing. So again, thank you for going through this whole thing. Sorry the editor kind of messed up, but that is Bruno. So the question I will ask you is, what is the lowest level you can beat Pokemon Red and Blue using a Beedrill? We are on to Agatha. So Agatha's known for being kind of a wild card, but there are things we can do to make it more consistent and put the RNG more in our favor. It never is in our favor, but put it more in our favor. If you notice my level, I'm up to level 51. This did a couple things for me. One, after one Swords Dance, I'm now able to outspeed the level 56 Gengar, which is huge. And two, I'm able to start one-shotting and two-shotting things, right? I don't want to have to two-shot stuff I could one-shot, and I don't want to have to three-shot stuff I could two-shot. And the Golbat is a pain in the rear end because it has haze. So you can have a really nice setup, get the really good RNG, get your Swords Dance out, and then it just hazes you and it's all back. But this one I got pretty lucky that level 56 Gengar kept getting swapped out, which is good because it's basically free turns and really no side effects. I thought about getting Substitute for this one, but I really didn't want to ruin my move pool. I really liked what I have. I thought I was going to need every move till the end, and Substitute does help out with Confuseray, but in using it, it just wasn't working. It was basically, it wasn't giving me what I needed. So the Arbok was never trouble. You'll see this Gengar is pretty nervous, 27 HP, but I get pretty lucky here with a Dream Eater, so we love to see that. Love to see how well Beedrill's doing. Very happy with this run so far. So the question I'm going to ask you is, what is the lowest level you can beat Pokemon Red and Blue using a Beedrill? We are on to Lance. Beedrill this has been the absolute most fun run I've ever had. I know when I was younger I got Beedrill because it was one of the first things you come across. And then as I got older I was like, well, Beedrill's trash. Beedrill's not trash. Beedrill is so good. The only real challenge on Lance is going to be the Gyarados and the Aerodactyl, and I'll get into that in a minute. But basically, you just got to hope that the Gyarados doesn't take you out too early and you can set up a little bit. And the reason for that is because the Dragonair, and Dragonite, Lance has what is called good AI, and they have agility and barrier. And so the good AI thinks that those are psychic type moves and are super effective against me, which they would be because I'm part poison, but they don't actually deal any damage. So just like the Dugong against Lorelee and the Slowbro, these guys are stuck and can't do anything about it. Now, what I did get worried about was running out of power points and KOing myself with struggle. So right now I'm just doing Mega Drain just to heal up, and it's not very pretty, but it is getting the job done. But you'll notice something happens here, Hyper Potion. If Lance would use one or two more of these things, I think I would have ran out of power points, and I could have easily lost. So I'm going to go ahead and agility up here. Outspeeding the Aerodactyl is a huge thing. We really don't want to get hit with that too many times. And then Twin Needle is doing good work. So then here's the Aerodactyl. This was the other scary one. Critical hit, not great. Bite, we can take it or leave it. And there we go. That's what we were hoping. So it would be a 2-hit KO with Twin Needle if I didn't get the critical hit. Remember, when you get a critical hit, you lose your badge boost and you lose any stat modifiers. So a lot of the times a critical hit can actually do less damage than a regular hit. And then here we go. I'm chipping away at the Dragonite. Not too bad. The poison was great. Again, I was just hoping for no hyper potion, no full restores. And it's stuck in barrier. Can't really hurt us. And then there we go. That's Lance. The question I ask you is, what is the lowest level you can beat Pokemon Red and Blue using a Beedrill? We're on to Blue. A few things to note. We did learn Hyper Beam at this point. So what has to happen here is we have to get 2 Swords Dance off. And what we need to watch out for is a Sky Attack will knock us out, and a Mirror Move our Swords Dance, and a Wing Attack will knock us out. If we can get by with neither of those 2 things happening, our Hyper Beam will 1-hit KO the Pidgeot, which is super nice because the Alakazam I'm not really concerned about because we are going to outspeed it, and we have Twin Needle, which I think is the best bug move in the game. After this, we have Rhydon. Now, even though Rhydon is relatively free to knock out, we do need it to do some stuff. So we do need to set up our last Swords Dance so we can 1-hit KO the Arcanine. And we also need to get hit by at least 1 Leer or Tail Whip. Because even though it's lowering our defense, it's giving us the badge boost we need, which is going to boost our attack just enough so we can knock out the Arcanine without too much trouble. If you can't knock out the Arcanine in 1 hit, it's not the end of the world, but it's just a lot easier if you can. So that's why we set that up. And we are going to use the Swords Dance against Blastoise as well. So Twin Needle knocks out the Executor, no surprise there. So then we have the Blastoise. Now, I have lost to the Blastoise a handful of times, but coming in at level 55, I'm excited. Mega Drain does less damage than Twin Needle because we are so stacked with the Swords Dance. Do we survive a Blizzard? And we do. Honestly, had so much fun with this run. This has to be a world record. I am so happy with everybody. Thanks for the support. The question I ask you is,